What is good? Osiris here, stuck in the middle. Thank you for joining me every day at 9 a.m. Mountain Time. Imagine you're Jeff Bezos. Imagine you're worth $186 billion. It's so much money, you can't even comprehend it. What do? What can you do for fun? How about going to space? Jeff Bezos is going to space on first crewed flight of rocket by Jackie Wattles, CNN Business. Jeff Bezos being real here. He's going to space. Jeff Bezos will be flying to space on the first crewed flight of the New Shepard, the rocket ship made by his company, Blue Origin. The flight is scheduled for July 20th, just 15 days after he is set to resign as CEO of Amazon. Blue Origin said Bezos' younger brother, Mark Bezos, will also join the flight. Here's what the flight's going to look like.
I want to go on this flight because it's a thing I've wanted to do all my life. It's an adventure. It's a big deal for me.
This is dangerous stuff. I would actually not want Elon Musk. People are comparing Jeff Bezos to Elon Musk, and Elon Musk has not gone into low Earth orbit. And I would actually strongly recommend against that. It's not worth the risk. Elon Musk is too important to his companies, and in my opinion, to our planet. Jeff Bezos' company, Blue Origin, just lost out on a bid to land a rocket on the moon, and that bid, losing out on that bid, could cripple his company. He got a $10 billion bailout from the government. So the $10 billion bailout was tucked into a bill to rebuff China. Now, I'm not going to necessarily be against this bailout. Let me hear me out. But let's look at the positive. We've got the right and left united on something. Senators Josh Hawley, according to Fox Business, and Bernie Sanders are speaking out against a $10 billion corporate bailout to Blue Origin, a spaceflight company founded by Amazon's Jeff Bezos. The measure was part of an amendment tacked on to the Endless Frontier Act, a bill aimed at increasing U.S. competitiveness with China through science and technology research. The amendment was authored by the Democratic chairwoman of the Senate Commerce, Science, and Transportation Committee, Maria Cantwell, who represents Washington State, where Blue Origin is headquarters, and Senator Roger Wicker, a Republican from Mississippi. Whenever the left and right can agree on something, that makes me happy. But there are legitimate arguments on both sides of this. It is very tough to see $10 billion going to a guy's company who is worth 180 something billion dollars. But I would argue you start with the fundamentals first. Don't lock us down when we don't need to. How about that? How about we look at our defense spending? And to me, this falls under the category of defense. And I'm going to show you why. China and Russia could cripple the U.S. with space attack, but the U.S. is pushing back. So this was an article from several years ago, 2017, but it had some stories in here that you might not be aware of. In 2007, China fired a missile that flew 537 miles above the Earth and smashed one of its weather satellites, caused thousands of pieces of debris to drift endlessly through Earth's orbit. A year later, the U.S. Navy shot down a satellite in danger of falling out of Earth's orbit at 133 miles and traveling at 17,000 miles per hour. There's a lot of stuff going on up there that I was not privy to or aware of until recently. Since then, Russia has completed at least 5 anti-satellite missile tests. Space is not a sanctuary. It is a war-fighting domain. The U.S. military relies on space-based operations for everything: communications, coordination, navigation, surveillance. So if you are an adversary attacking the U.S., you would start by taking out those satellites. The first shot in a war between the U.S. and China or Russia, no one would likely hear. And I'm working on a video talking about China and nuclear threat and war. And I don't think that's going to happen. So let me throw that out there. But if it does happen, it's not going to be the first parts of it are going to be in areas that we don't even know about. You would take out the GPS, the satellites, the communication. China has stuff in space. Russia has stuff in space. We have no choice. So you can say the 10 billion. I'm not going to say the 10 billion. That means Jeff Bezos should get 10 million because he lost the contract. But we do have to make sure we are doing enough. And it's only going to be private industry. We are not an authoritarian country like China. China can do whatever they want to do, push it through, spend as much money as they want. That's not how we work. So my point is, this is a complicated scenario. I wish Jeff Bezos the best up in space. Don't want any harm to happen to anybody. That is truly a dangerous thing he's doing with his brother in there. I do think it should be up to Jeff Bezos to get additional funding. I don't care if he pays for it or if he goes and opens up a funding round for his company. He can go get the 10 billion. We don't need to fund it to him. I'm with you on that. I'm with anybody who would disagree with that. But I want both Elon and Bezos to be successful. That's where it comes down to. I want them to be successful, even when you look at it beyond self-defense, the defense of our country. Is there part of you that wants your children's children's children to be multiplanetary, meaning that they can go to a Mars or a moon on Jupiter or somewhere else with technology that we can't even think of at this moment? I do. When we look at all this nitty gritty and arguments and small things that we're always going back and forth on, hundreds of years from now, we're going to be remembered most for who was who was the civilization that started this exploration. I look back, I really like explorers, and I look at our country, America, and it's not even, they say Christopher Columbus discovered America, but he never set foot in North America. He actually was in the West Indies, the Bahamas. He called it the West Indies. He didn't know where he was. But that courage from him and Leif Erikson 500 years before him, and Amerigo Vespucci, who our country is named after, those explorers had the courage, and these weren't poor people who went to sea. They had money, they had resources. And so the people who are going to make us multiplanetary are going to have resources. It's not going to be the common person. And this is not going to be some pretty thing. When they went out to sea and fought syphilis and scurvy and all kinds of other death and more disease and danger, that's what space is. Space is not some luxury escape valve from this trash planet that we destroyed. No, there's not a magic space valve. Space is dangerous. It's going to be very difficult. And there's nothing glamorous about it right now. Well, I guess other than the view. How can you look at these pictures and not recognize the beauty of space? Do you have curiosity about what's out there? What can we learn from the different planets and outer space? One of the coolest things when I read about outer space is they talk about how it's just pitch black, but what is lit up from the sun has colors that are so vibrant that it's surreal. So when you're looking at the pictures, just looking at the pictures is amazing. Could you imagine being in space and seeing this? Which one is this? That's Juno. Juno captured Jupiter's gorgeous clouds. It's unbelievable. The pictures that you can see. And when you look at the planet Earth from outer space, it just looks amazing. Here's what I'm going to end on. It's complicated. Don't you want to don't you want us to be out there? Let me know what you think. Thanks a lot. Take care.